There is a movement across the nation to get convicted killer Julius Jones off of Oklahoma's death row. He will once again try to convince the state to spare his life. That's at a clemency hearing that is scheduled for next week.
Jones says he's innocent in the 1999 murder of Edmond businessman Paul Howell. And a handful of big-name celebrities have come to his defense. But tonight, we're hearing from a member of the Howell family in an Oklahoma Zone original report. Lisa Monahan has the story.
In a moonlit neighborhood.
It was a full moon. We drove home and we parked right out here in front of the driveway.
At the house she now lives in.
I see it all the time. You can't help but see it.
It happened in that dreadfully awful driveway.
Son's been shot out of the front yard. He got no pulse.
I had my foot out the door when I heard a shot, and I saw that Paul was gone. We just ran for safety.
Megan Howell is taking cover from her brother's killer once again. Only now, more than 2 decades later, the threat is different.
Gross impartiality, maladministration, bias, prejudice, things of this nature.
Julius Jones' name needs to be cleared.
I want it to end for our family. You just want to shout it at the rooftops and say, he's guilty, he's guilty.
Megan has no doubts because she witnessed her brother Paul Howell's murder. She testified against Julius Jones in the trial where he was convicted and sentenced to death.
If anybody would take the time to really study the facts, then they would know that there is no doubt that Julius Jones is guilty.
In 1999, Megan and her brother Paul took his 2 young daughters to get school supplies and ice cream. They later returned to their parents' home in Edmond, parked their Suburban in the driveway, and just stepped out, unaware they'd been followed.
Julius Jones never said one word. He just put a gun to my brother's temple and shot. It was such a disturbing night, and it's imprinted in your brain. My mother was huddled over Paul. She was cradling and she was saying, please be alive, please be alive. But I knew he was already gone.
Megan still struggles with flashbacks. The entire family has dealt with tremendous grief over the years.
He was such a loving son, a great brother, and the best father you could ever know.
Happy memories of her brother are still there, she says, but are often overwhelmed by the painful reality of his murder. How has it impacted your life?
It's changed everything. For years, I didn't leave the house. You just have this fear inside you that something is going to happen. I keep the doors locked. I keep the alarm system on.
But no lock, no alarm could protect Megan, much less prepare her for the all-out public relations campaign Jones has waged to avoid the death penalty.
That he has a family that he can go to, a community that he can go to when he gets out, not if, when he gets out.
And the more I heard about it, I just thought, nobody's going to believe this because it's not right. Because we had the facts behind us. We knew he was guilty.
Sir, are you Julius Darius Jones? Sir, I have 1 warrant charging you with 3 crimes.
Jones made far-reaching claims of innocence and maintains he was framed for the murder and given an unfair trial.
And it just kind of took on a life of its own. And I still, to this day, don't understand why so many celebrities have gotten behind this.
In recent years, Jones's supporters have released documentaries, issued petitions, and hosted rallies to free the convicted killer.
I just wish these people would take time and realize how hurtful it is to our family. You know, they are re-victimizing us. Julius Jones is re-victimizing us.
Jones, she says, was so brazen that he even sent her a letter from prison.
The thing that was upsetting is he knew where I lived now. I mean, he was able to get a hold of me. It was almost like a threat, you know, you can save my life, you change your testimony, and I'll get out. And so after that, I really became scared.
Megan says she expected the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board to consider her safety, as well as Jones's prison misconduct during the controversial vote on commutation. Instead, she believes the fervor of Jones's national supporters convinced the board to recommend his death sentence be commuted to life with the possibility of parole.
I just don't think that they are being fair. You could tell by their expressions when we first went in there. It was disheartening.
Soon after, the state set an execution date for Jones, with Governor Kevin Stitt later announcing he would not decide on Jones's case until after the clemency hearing, a hearing that would be in front of the same Pardon and Parole Board.
I don't have any faith in the Pardon and Parole Board. They are so biased, there's no confidence there.
Megan and her family are anxious. They are speaking out, addressing what they say is rampant misinformation about the case. And they're also praying, hoping that the justice jurors imposed on Julius Jones 2 decades ago won't be undermined now.
After 22 years, we just need some kind of closure. I feel for sure he will come, not necessarily after me to murder me, but he will come and find me.
That was Lisa Monahan reporting. Governor Kevin Stitt will have the final say in the case. The Howell family requested a meeting with the governor to discuss their concerns, but that meeting has not happened yet.